All right, well, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Conversations with the Crawleys. My name is Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
And we just have conversations about faith, family, relationships, some of our favorite TV shows, all for your entertainment, enjoyment, and just because y'all come by and we love you.
Might as well.
All right, so if this is your first time, definitely make sure you're hitting the subscribe button, hit the like button, request notifications as we do this fairly often. The show that we are talking about today is our favorite show, one of our favorite shows, Ready to Love.
Ready to Love. And we had to look at it late, guys. We were hanging out with family. We were in Vegas.
If you are subscribed to this channel, you know that we have just celebrated 25 years of marriage. Woohoo! And so, therefore, we took some time and we were in Vegas. Didn't win anything. Yeah. But we had fun as a family. So, this is for a little late, but we think that there's still some value to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's jump into it. This was Friends Week.
Yep. So the guys and their friends or close friends were supposed to meet their number one or the ladies that they think are on their top.
At least they're a little more serious about they're thinking that we'll move forward with.
Right.
And for Chris, of course, this week is always he even mentions it's kind of like he's a little sensitive to Friends Week.
He had PST.
Yeah, because last time, if you watched the last season, you know Chris got sent home because of a friend question about money.
Yep.
So, all right. So, but this episode, listen, this one was full of revelations and stuff.
Interesting
that we were like,
stuff.
We ain't see that coming. All right.
Right.
So Joelle and Vernisha are the first friends.
Right, which would make sense. I was expecting Vernisha to show up, you know, and so I was like, okay, this should go pretty well if there's a genuine connection and different stuff. But a lot of stuff came out.
Yeah, so she's ready to be married.
Correct.
Not necessarily like right now, this is what I'm feeling with you, but she's saying that her goal is to be married.
Correct.
Right? And she has a goal, which I think is a great goal for anybody that's on this show, is to be the first couple to actually find love and be married.
And she actually says that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's really serious about the process and finding the right person. But she also claims that she done hooked onto Joel. And Joel's it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's the balancing act of this show, is that you have to, one, know who you want and who you're looking at, but not make that person feel claustrophobic or feel trapped, or because that seems to be kind of his thoughts, is that she's possessive, and she does say that she's territorial, right?
She says she's territorial, you know, and can be a little clingy or needy. And so the question comes in, is she going to allow this to breathe? Right. I think a lot of times our thought process is, I'm getting older, my kids are getting older. Am I going to be in a relationship? Am I going to have someone? So once someone finally takes interest in us, we're trying to hold on to it. But that's what happens, right? We hold on something too hard. We end up choking.
Choking the life out of it.
Right. And that takes away from the chase.
Right.
You know, the endurement of getting to know somebody. And I think this is the time where you need to say, pump the brakes.
Right.
You done been through the process. You done showed your vulnerability. And now you need to say, okay, I'm going to be good. If it works out or not, I'm going to be good. That's hard.
Right.
But you're going to have to talk to yourself.
Exactly. So more to come from them in a moment. But Chris and Amber then have their friends date.
And he does it as a podcast. So it could be good but it seemed like Amber was into it.
And he's bringing her into his world, which I think was
good.
The goal of it. He's like, okay, let me bring her into my world, into my environment.
Right.
So, and the question that made it seem like it was a red flag was, had she told anyone? She's like, no, she hasn't told her family. She hasn't told her friends.
Right.
But he's like, I get it. He's like, I haven't told my family. I haven't told my friends.
Right.
So, and the question was asked of Amber, why is Chris her number one, KG her number one? And she said it's natural. And I think that's the thing I think we're seeing from them, is that they just seem like a natural fit.
It's organic, right? They're just having fun. They're enjoying each other's company. They're getting to know each other. And I think with any starting relationship, there shouldn't be any extra pressure there.
Right.
You know, when you have an expectation, you meet someone like, oh yeah, he's going to be it. He's the one that's going to marry me, or she's the one that's going to marry me. I think you lose out on just enjoying being in someone's presence.
Right.
And having company.
I think about it also is like, there's a stage, where you let your family, your friends know who you're seeing. but it's early, right?
Right. And you're in the process on a TV show. Right. It's not like...
So it's not like
right.
We've been on several dates. We're exclusive.
Right.
And now it's like, now I'm going to bring you around my family.
Correct.
We're still at I'm still getting to know you stage. See if I want to be more committed.
Right.
To you. So, they seem to be going well. I like their vibe. I like how they are operating.
And she says the T word, which was trust. She said,
yes.
I trust him.
Yeah.
So I feel comfortable, if we don't see each other or whatever, that if we're going to be in something more, I'm building up this trust with him.
Right.
So that's good.
All right. And then Jason brings his friends for a date. They meet at a nice little place.
Yeah.
But first we see Liz.
And we're like, oh, he picks Liz over Kyra? I was like, Kyra shows up. And he didn't tell Liz. I would prepare the women like, hey, this is the task we were given this week.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing both you and whoever he's talking to.
Yep.
So they wouldn't be like, oh, so you're not just picking me.
Right.
And that would help with the confusion, how to kind of set your mindset going into this task he had.
Yep.
But he doesn't. So
yeah, I mean, Liz comes off to his friend just kind of stiff.
Right. Or standoffish may be a good word.
And I do think that
there's an age difference here, right?
There's a 6-year age difference, so it's not a major difference.
But it depends.
But I think it's a maturity difference. And so that's not just age, that is just where they are in life. And I think she's at a different place in life than he is.
Well, and depending on where his friends are. See, because we're not talking about him.
Right.
We're talking about the friends.
Right.
And because the girl was like, I just can feel the spirit on her. So, if she's holding herself with a maturity, a spirituality about themselves, where in the cases of his friends, they may not be there yet.
Right.
I can see how she could come off as stiff or standoffish.
Yeah. So. And then, Kyra even makes a statement at the end of the day. She's like, I wasn't sure if the girl that was Jason's friend had been part of his
used to date each other. And I have a problem in the sense of Kyra, like that's what she's thinking in the back of her mind. When a guy says, hey, these are my friends, I'm going to trust at the level you are, that you're saying that this is your friend.
Right.
And that who cares what happened in the past or whatever, but you have to be confident enough that they're not dating no more. And he values her opinion.
Right.
And so this is the person that's going to be in his life if you don't be there or not. So to start having that thinking about, sooner or later, you're going to bring this in conversation. So did y'all date? So what happened?
You're going to have that suspicion all the time.
Right.
So
right. Yeah. So I think when a man says that this is just his friend, take it for what he gives it.
Right.
If he reveals later, oh, we used to date for a minute, or I thought it was going to work out, it didn't work out. Okay.
Right.
And you leave that at face value as well.
Right.
Because you had friends that were women for a very long time. And one of them you did try to date off and on, and it didn't work out. But y'all were still friends and calling each other. I had no problem with that.
Right. Because we told you this was what it was.
Right.
It wasn't like I was like, as our relationship grew, that relationship started to diminish.
Right. But that was a choice of you.
Right. That was my choice. It wasn't like you forced me to. Or
or putting pressure on you.
You still know this person.
Right.
You still, so it's.
That's it. I know her. See, you like, there's no list.
Shut up.
Trying to create a list. So.
All right. Anyway. Anywho. All right. And then AJ and Kyra meet.
Yes.
Friends. So Kyra getting around.
Yeah, Kyra. Yeah, we'll find out. But meaning in the sense that this is a lot of men's number one.
And I'll be honest, for a moment, I was concerned that Kyra was slipping into the background.
Right.
But no.
Kyra, name coming up pretty quick.
It's coming up a lot in this one.
So they had a good conversation as well. But Kyra's taking advantage of this opportunity to meet the friends and get some questions in to answer where she wants to be.
I like how she flipped it. She's like, I'm not just going to turn this into you interrogating me.
Right.
If you his friends, I need to know what you think about him. Because that's going to tell me where he is.
Right. You know, so, and I think when Jason had his meeting, he just realizing how his friends think about him that he never asked before, it brought out a lot of good things for him as well.
Yeah.
So
all right. So, Kyra's, AJ's friends say that she has her guard up, but that she wants to be with him. So,
yeah, I believe that because you had a bad experience, but you're trying to give someone an opportunity, but you don't want to get hurt at the same time.
Exactly.
So that's a balancing act.
It's a lot about, there's a lot of balancing act in all of this, but yeah, I think for her guard is a little more up with AJ because of the previous experience. Correct. But I think that it's hard to say, but I think with where she's at right now, I think that AJ may be a better fit for her. Jason just comes off a little different for me. I don't know. Let us know what you think in the comments. I don't know. Jason's
well, maybe because he's very romantic and thoughtful about how he approaches. Because he was talking about, I'll bathe you, I'll clean you. I think that's when you're a senior citizen. I would really appreciate to know that's going to happen in my old age. Yeah. But I mean, occasionally it's nice to have something romantic.
Yes.
Occasionally. Absolutely. Now, I don't expect you to show up every week.
He was doing that whole baby face. I'll buy your clothes. I'll cook your dinner for you.
There's nothing wrong with that.
The baby face, but we see how that turned out for Babyface, right?
Well, obviously, he was singing it, but he may not have been doing it. Right. So there's a difference between saying and doing stuff too. I think there's a balance, and especially when you're in the beginning, you want to be romantic. Right. And so he's been very thoughtful about his dates, And so I can't say it's a red flag, but again, it's about him making a decision if he's ready to get married. Right. And then that's when you put your all into it, so.
All right. And then Ron and Chrysanthemum. And Alexis. So as Chrysanthemum, as someone in one of our previous comments called her the flower girl. So Ron with Chrysanthemum and Alexis. Now Alexis is she kind of shady and petty. And catty, right?
Yeah.
She said Chrysanthemum was real pretty, but she'll only give you 2 sentences, which I fell out laughing at.
Well, and from what was cut, again, we only see part of it. That's all she gave was 2, and she wasn't feeling. I don't feel like to be grilled. Well, Ron is trying to make a decision,
right?
She's being used to being the focal point. Right. I think she's the only child too. I think she mentioned something about being the only child.
Yeah, if I remember her story correctly.
Yeah, because her dad was in Italy and kind of. And she didn't get to know him.
She told us in the interview last week with Chris, or the date with Chris, that she's kind of standoffish.
Yeah, she does state that, and she's pretty much a loner, right? You're a flight attendant, you're gone, you're in and out, you're in and out, hard to meet people. But like I said she'd probably make a good basketball wife.
Yeah, she's just on the wrong show. She's
on the wrong show. She's
on Basketball Wives.
Fine. I mean, and nothing against wives that are, married to basketball stars, but a majority of...
Well, we're talking the VH1 type show.
Right, the VH1 kind of shows.
Where a number of them really aren't wives. They're just former girlfriends or former fiancés that,
Maybe one of them wives. But anywho, that's what the vibe she kind of gives off to me, Like, I'll do my part, but that's all I'm doing. Right. I know what my role is, kind of, But anyway, Alexis is like, well, you're meeting friends. So this is not your sexy night because it's not you and Ron.
Right, because that was the other thing was the outfit that Chrysanthemum had on. She had on a club outfit.
She had a club outfit, which they were in a club. Right. But what...
read the room.
She was like, what you're here for is to meet friends. Right. So that's why Alexa was a little bit more like, okay.
Still had the sex appeal.
Right. But she was a little bit more calmer.
She was not like, I'm just going to show you all thigh, all everything.
Because I'm meeting your friends.
Right.
So,
because that's also the impression that you're giving out. Now, once you all are together and you dress up and that's how you do, that's how you flow, cool. Right. But at the end of the day, I think, it was probably not the right outfit for
the event she was going to. Right. Yeah. And I think you have to consider that. If that's who you are, true to who you are, okay. But I think you always want to give that best first impression. Right. Because friends and family do make a difference.
Absolutely. All right. And then David meets Liz with his friends.
Yes. So, I mean, great conversation. They're really asking Liz, like, we know you're ready to get married from what you've informed us, but David has come out of another marriage that has failed.
Right.
Can you be patient with him as he, on this journey, right? And she was like, I feel like I can, if he's really going to be the one that's going to like, I'm working on this, but I'm moving forward. There's a thing of being stuck in it.
Yes.
And there's a thing of like, I'm working through it and moving forward.
Right. Either you're going to keep picking at the scab or you're going to heal.
Correct.
And I think that's where David, that's the crossroads he's at. He's got to figure out whether he wants to heal or whether he wants to keep picking at the scab.
Right.
And so, because he also brings up the fact that she called him.
Correct.
After her date with Jason.
Yes.
Where they shared a kiss. So she called David and let him know.
Like, hey.
But he was like, I'm kind of put off by that.
Yeah, he was like, I'm put off by that. First of all, y'all not exclusive.
No.
This is a show. And she had a moment with them that she did not have to share. But I get it. Like, hey, I want him to know I am feeling number one. I want no one else to say it first.
Right.
I want to be the first one. But she tells him, but I was thinking about you. To me, I'd be like, oh, wow. Like, first I'd be like, what? Yeah. What happened? Yeah. But only thing you can think about me and you decide to call me for us just meeting. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt that you thought enough of me and care enough about me to let me know so my feelings wouldn't be hurt.
Right. Because in this environment, again, we have to talk about this environment. Right. If we're talking real life, dating, what have you, completely different story. Right. But in this environment, you're dating a lot of different people.
Correct.
And yes, people that you are sitting in the lounge with, sitting across from, and y'all are comparing notes, what have you. Everybody's comparing notes.
Right.
So for her to be like, you know what? I kissed him. I want to make sure that you know so that you don't see it on a clip.
Right.
So that you don't hear about it in the lounge.
Right.
You know up front. So that way you're not blindsided.
Right.
Right. And I think that might be respective of the fact that he has been divorced twice now. And so he's very cautious about what's that. But he's like, I'm slowing down to make sure my choice. Right. So now.
And I was like, what other choice do you have? Because at first I was thinking like, you never talked about a number two.
Right.
You never mentioned anyone else.
Right.
So who are you talking about? And so I'm thinking like, why are you so upset that you got a little attitude with her and you're a little standoffish after she's telling you the truth? Where your previous relationship, I thought the problem was no one was telling you the truth.
Right.
Anywho.
Yeah. So she also calls out his indecisiveness. So she's like, you got to make a decision.
Like we're six, there's only 6 people on each side left.
So, I think that for her, she's like, look, I'm kind of more locking into you, even though Jason kind of came out of nowhere and was like, okay, but she's like, I'm kind of locking into you. But if you're pulling back now it's like, I need you to make a decision.
Correct.
Because I can fight. There's others still here that I can move around to. So. All right. So then Jason does take Kyra on a single date. And real romantic, whatever. He says he sees a future with her.
Right. Well, because he's never really had a romantic spark there. Well, Liz has seemed to be pretty quick after seeing her in a different light.
Felt a little forced to me.
So, I don't know. But, so he's trying to see if he has that chemistry with her, which would make sense. So, he got the rose petals. They got a private, museum, can see photos, got wine there. I'm like, okay, I see you. So he's talking to her and trying to make sure there's there. But I don't think you noticed. She reached over first to him to kiss him.
That's right, she did.
So I was like, he still didn't seem very leading the way and kissing like he was leading the way and kissing Liz.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So then the fellas meet in the lounge with Tommy.
Yes.
And listen, I'm gonna tell you right now,
friends do make a difference.
We want to let us know in the comments because there was a lot that happened and not that was said in this lounge conversation. So everybody's going around. This is how a date went. Da, da, da. So Tommy's like, all right, look, let's cut to the chase.
Like, hey, we're getting down.
We're down there, right?
So let's tell me you're number
one.
one.
Go home tonight. Who are you taking as your number one?
Right.
So they start off with, Joel makes a statement.
Kyra. I'm like, just like I said it, like you weren't expecting me to say it first. We were like, woo, 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 woo. Woo, 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 woo. Who does that?
Excuse me?
Woo, 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 woo.
All right. Listen, Kyra. So
it was like, where did Kyra name come from? I never see you on the date. Maybe you did. They didn't tape it, and yet them men holding back. But I was like, okay.
So, and to give it some context, because in his like little aside interview, he says that he and Vernisha had a miscommunication the previous night.
The night of the event.
Well, he in the thing he said the previous night.
Oh,
so we
okay.
have to, so it's like the night before he got into a little tiff. It looks like
right,
with Vernisha.
Right.
So he's like, I didn't have a good conversation there, but I had this good conversation with Kyra. And what they showed us a clip.
That was at the beginning.
Right.
It was the clip from the beginning.
Right. So it's like, how you had a great conversation with someone a few weeks ago, and
right.
that's going to be who you take home?
Right. And every other episode, everyone sees you with who?
Vernisha. Thank
you. And so where does Kyra come in? Kyra like, you ain't in my top.
We even had, we were like, okay, maybe even if he had it, if he had said Amber, because they did have that date.
Right.
Seemed to be okay.
I was like, if you're going to have anyone.
Age difference there,
But Amber was like, I'm open to being a bonus mom. She did not. And she came off genuine when she spoke about,
yep.
I'm open. She just seemed like a mature person.
Yep.
So
that's not the last time that Kyra was mentioned. Because then, who else said Kyra?
We knew AJ was going to say Kyra.
We knew AJ was going to say Kyra.
That makes sense.
And so Jason's over there like, okay, 1, 2, all right. And then David.
Come out of the blue talking about Kyra. Like, boy, what are you talking about?
You better take Liz and run.
I was like, I'm thinking, no, Liz needs and don't even take David because, again, he was petty. And then all of a sudden, because of that, all of a sudden you're going to say Kyra?
I'm saying from David's vantage point, David need to take what he can get with Liz and move on. Because I don't see Kyra and David. I don't see them.
I don't see them. I don't even remember them
having conversation.
They just don't seem like a good fit.
As
to
personalities,
me,
who they are.
I'm gonna be honest. And because I don't see Kyra with David, that's just not her look. I pretty much what Joel and David saying is just let me off the show because she ain't picking me.
Wow.
That's how I'm putting that. They're pretty much saying Kyra because they know they have no connection with her. Pretty much I went off the show because she has to pick them as well.
Yeah.
She ain't picking them.
Yeah. So
that's how they doing.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm like this. When you're in the beginning, I know there's a difference between like, okay, this is a red flag for me and I need to let you go. But if it's because of something you're working through, like Joel, I think he's ready for a relationship, but I don't think he's ready to get married again.
Right.
And that's where the difference from Vernisha and Joel is right now. Vernisha's like, I'm ready to get married. Joel's like, the love of my life, the one I decided to finally marry and have kids with, died.
Right.
So really, I'm just trying to get back into dating, and the thought of falling or being in love again is where he is.
And he's asking the questions because he's like, I'm not. He's ready to get married from the aspect that that's what his goal is, to be married again. But I don't think he's ready to be like, look, this is the person right now we're going to move.
Because he's just starting again.
Right. And so I think for him, it's he's asking the questions of, could this proceed to that? But don't lock me in right now off of these few weeks.
Right.
And I think that's the other thing is that because of how this process is, don't lock me in on these few weeks.
Right.
Because this is just a few weeks.
Right.
Our process may take a little longer.
Right.
Because now I've seen you compared against all these other people.
Right.
And you're comparing me against all these other people. But now I've got to see you for who you are.
Right.
And that's going to be a process that happens outside of the show.
Right.
All right. So then as far as the letdown dates, we have, and I don't know why they did these. They sent Ron to meet with Liz.
He's not a good communicator.
And Chrysanthemum to meet with Chris.
Now, I get the Chris and the Chrysanthemum because Chris knows how to communicate and he knows how to talk to Chrysanthemum and get to the point.
Yes, he does.
So that was perfect.
Yes.
Chris knew how to handle that.
Ron looked like a scared little boy.
Ron felt like he was about to tell her that she had a week to live or something. Like Ron thought that Liz was going to like pull out her piece on him. I mean, they should you could have sent Joel. Joel would have done that, very well. You could have even sent AJ.
Right.
But you sent Ron sweating like he wasn't being interrogated. Lord have mercy. She's like, you got me scared. What you about to say? And I think he still didn't communicate well. Like, hey, you know, we just want to know that you're open to everything that includes friends and being, you know, open.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't know how to reflect, but I want to reflect, but I don't know exactly what I'm looking for.
She got nothing, in my opinion, based upon what we saw.
Right.
She got nothing that was useful to help her to see, okay, how can I maybe still move forward with the options that are available to me?
She would have to actually ask Jason, because that's the date she went on. If she didn't see him again, like.
And Jason's a better communicator than Ron.
Correct.
David is in his feelings a little too much for me right now.
He is. I think David's gonna be gone. I'm making a prediction.
You making? Oh, you flowing with the prediction.
Oh, I came back from Vegas now. Hey. I'm like, I'm taking it like I'm thinking David's gone.
Yeah. Of the guys that are left, I think David is probably there. I'm trying to think. The only other one that might be there is Joel, and that's because if Vernisha kind of hears that she's, you know, pushing to the side or whatever. So we'll see. But yeah, Chrysanthemum, as someone in our comments mentioned, the flower girl. The flower girl is gone.
She is gone.
And let's just be honest. She was cold. She was distant. She was not. Yeah. This was not a good show for her. This was not a good fit for her. And I don't think she was willing to be available enough.
Right.
Based upon what we saw.
For the process. Because the guys were trying to reach out to her. Right. But she was not getting back to them. And this is what I want to say. Because she was like, see, when men, it happens to them.
Listen, if I'm interested in you, I'm getting back with you.
Right. And
let's just cut that out right there.
Right.
If a guy doesn't respond to you in a timely fashion, I'm not saying hit you right back.
30 seconds.
But if it's like a day and 2 days and 3 days before he hits you back, let me just be honest with you. We're not interested.
Right. But on my flip side is, these are none of the guys that didn't text you. So when you're trying to put, you know, what you hate or the loss of the expectation, and you're doing it to people who never hurt you, you're only hurting yourself.
Yep.
You know, so we have to set right expectations. Hey, are you a texter? Do you like to text?
Right.
You know, how fast do you get back? Are you a real busy person? Do you normally stay at home? Set expectations to, if you want to receive text messages and you want to kind of talk back and forth that way, make sure you set the expectation. But when you feel like, oh, he's not responding to me, so yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing to him. You're playing a game to me.
Right.
That's me.
And I think that's another thing for her. I think this was too much more of a game for her, or because she was very. I don't think we ever actually really got to get any depth with her.
No, except for when she was more open with Chris than anyone.
Yes, she was open with Chris, but she wasn't interested in Chris. That's the crazy thing.
Right.
She was open with him. Not revealing everything, but got more
sharing
out
about
of her
dad and that trying to learn that relationship. Exactly. So
yeah. All right. So we're making a prediction. So far we're doing pretty good this season.
Yeah, I'm going out on a limb. I'm saying David.
Yeah, because in the previews next week, yeah, David's feelings. Because in the previews next week, it looks like he's having a conversation with Liz, and Liz is trying to say something and communicate something, and he's cutting her off, and he says, "I want let me lead," and she's like, "But you're cutting me off. There's a way to lead without having to cut somebody off." And so we don't know all the details, but.
Well, and then being a leader is learning how to listen too. Yes. I think this is the hard part about being in a relationship, and you want to glean from like your parents or whatever. And even if you had the opportunity to glean from them, you still don't know the intricacies of trying to communicate.
Right.
And leading doesn't all means that you're speaking first.
Right.
Sometimes it's about listening.
Yep. And then going off that information. Absolutely.
Yep.
So that's our prediction right now. So we will see you next time. Let us know in the comments your thoughts. We appreciate each and every one of you. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like, and request notifications. And we will see you next time with Conversations with the Crawleys. Yeah, I messed that up. That's all right though.
Sound like you was about to say chronic. Chronic with the Crawleys.
All right. Have a good one. We'll see you next time. Be blessed.
Be blessed. Friday with the Club. Hey.